You're listening to Blue Please here on CynicalBrit.com with myself, Total Biscuit. Content has happened. And we got a contest, but I'm not going to tell you about it because I'm mean and unreasonable. Yes, quite. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about the stat changes. We've known for a while that these were going to happen. It was announced at BlizzCon. To boos and cheers and MP5 gone, spell power gone. That was a good one. I remember watching and listening to that. Oh yes. I thought they were going to be lynched. It was pretty awesome. But yeah, so there's going to be a massive set of stat changes in this particular expansion. Mythical, mystical, magical. Well, not really magical, because they've got rid of spell power, so I suppose it's just mythical and indeed mystical. We're just going to have to do with 2/3 of the whole package. Let's talk about it, shall we? Enix has posted a rather long post here, so let's go and have a look and see what he has to say. You can read along with me via the benefit of MMO Champion, the place where all the good stuff comes from. Yes, MMOchampion.com, go check it out. So here we go. Now, Enix is trying to give an explanation as to why all of these stats have been changed. So, here's the big ones. Right, stamina. Because of the way that we will be assigning strength, agility, and intellect, non-plate wearers will end up with more stamina than before. Health pools will be much closer between plate wearers and other classes. Okay. Fair enough. Nothing to say about that, really. Spirit, come let's try that one again. Spirit, come Cataclysm. This stat should only be found on healing gear. Yes! Spirit is terrible! Spirit is terrible, and I hate it, and it's gone from my life. So yeah, I hate Spirit, as you can probably hear. It's absolutely terrible. Yes, bye-bye Spirit! Non-healing casters will have other systems in place to regenerate mana. We are designing special solutions for Elemental Shaman and Balanced Druid, so often share gear with healers. More on this below. Raid buffs that currently boost spirits, such as Blessing of Kings, will only boost the primary stats of stamina, strength, agility, and intellect. We are also likely changing the 5-second rule and other quirks of the current regen system. Yes. Okay. That's good. Intellect. Intellect will now grant spell power. More on this below. Intellect will also provide less mana than it currently does. Right, well, I am least affected by this because my intellect already provides me spell power, being an arcane mage. I'm okay with that. We shall see. Haste. Haste will become more attractive for melee classes by allowing them to recover resources such as energy and runes more quickly. Our intention is for Haste to let you do stuff more often. I like doing stuff. Vote for Enix 2012. That's Enix Morhaime 2012. What a great ticket that would be. Nerf America. Into the ground. Right, block rating. Block is being redesigned to scale better. Blocked attacks will simply hit for 30% less damage. Block rating will improve your chances to block. Shocker! Though overall block chances will be lower than they are today. Well, there you go. I don't understand a lot about tanks, but that sounds good to me. It seems like the parry system and the block system and everything don't really make all that much sense. So I'm glad to see that they're kind of sorting that out. So here's parry. Parry will no longer provide 100% avoidance and no longer speeds up attacks. Instead, when you parry an attack, it and the next attack will each hit for 50% damage, assuming they hit at all. In other words, dodge is a chance to avoid 100% of the damage, and parry is a chance to avoid 50% of the damage from 2 attacks. So you dodge 1 attack, but you can parry 2 attacks. So it's spreading the damage out as opposed to a avoidance spike. I imagine that would help healing a little bit, I would think. That would make a lot of sense. So block is a chance to avoid 30% of damage from 1 attack. So block is clearly inferior, but most likely it'll end up happening more often. So those are your 3 mitigation talents there. Or stats, indeed. So here's the stat that I'm really excited about. It goes by the name of Mastery, and it's a new stat that allows players to become better at whatever makes their chosen talent tree cool or unique. You mean I can conjure more water? Yay! Blizz, you're fantastic. I love you. I'll subscribe forever. 1 specialization, Mastery. Get 6.25% more 1 damage. The cries for nerfs on the forums. I hear them in my ears. They echo as if inside a large seashell that you find on the shore of a wonderful crystal blue sea. Yes, indeed, a seashell on the shore of a sea. It's a shocker, isn't it? And of course, when I find the seashell, I put it to my ear and I wonder what I shall hear in my ear. It doesn't work. So at the seashell I must leer. For the seashell does not allow me to hear in my ear. So I leer in fear. And I wonder, why am I rhyming? Why am I attempting to be poetic? Why must I leer at this fearful seal thing? One wonders where I'm going with this. I have no idea. So leer, the fear, and the sheer, and the deer, and the... yes, I have no idea where I'm going with that. Let's go. So, Mastery. Looks good. Looks fun. It's going to be dependent on what talent you choose, what spells you use. I'm doing it again, aren't I? Oh, God! Some kind of disease. So, you can expect things like, say, the fire tree to go a lot into crit. Maybe some extra dots, things like that. Arcane probably looking into haste. Things like that. Maybe a little hit on one side and not so much on the other, because of course Arcane has more by default. Things like that. Mastery looks really cool. Now, of course, the idea behind Mastery is that they can take away a lot of the very passive talents and make more interesting ones, simply by bundling them all into this one idea of Mastery. Good. Armor. The way that armor mitigates damage is staying the same, but the armor stat will be rebalanced to mirror changes to the armor curve in Cataclysm. So bonus armor's going down slightly overall, and we're changing, so says Blizzard, the mitigation difference between armor types so the plate doesn't offer so much more protection than mail, leather, and cloth. I assume that's PvP related. Resilience. This will only affect damage done by players and critical damage done by players. It will not impact crit chance, mana drains, or other such effects. Well, there you go. Strength, agility, hit rating, expertise, and critical strike rating. These will appear on gear still, aside from situations mentioned above in the list. In general, these will function similarly to how they do now, though the details, such as how much hit rating you need, are going to change. Right, okay, so there's not a massive number of changes there. It's pretty light. Nothing anyone should really be confused or find particularly disturbing. Now, here's what they might find disturbing. Here's what's being removed. Attack power, spell power, armor pen, shield block value. So, attack power. It will no longer be present on items as a flat value, though it will still show up in some process. So most items this isn't going to be on. Strength and agility, which will be present on items, will grant the appropriate amount of attack power, which will generally be 2 attack power per point of either strength or agility, depending on what stat a particular class favors. Agility may provide less crit than it currently does. Spell power, gone on most items. Intellect will grant spell power. One exception is that caster weapons will still have spell power in order to make them proportionally more powerful to casters in the same way that they are for melee classes. That's absolutely fine. I don't see a problem with that at all. Armor pen, gone, but it will exist in talents and abilities. Shield block value, gone. The amount blocked is going to be proportional to the amount of damage done now, and talents and other effects might still modify the damage reduction percentage from 30%. Stuff that is gone completely. MP5, defense, spell ranks, weapon skill. MP5, stat will be removed from the game completely. Evidently, they decided they don't want you to care about MP5 anymore. In fact, they'd prefer that you didn't. Ah, that's a good thing. MP5's a terrible stat. Defense, being removed from the game entirely. Tanking classes should expect to become uncritable versus creatures just by shifting into defensive stance, Frost Presence, Bear Form, and using Righteous Fury. I don't really know what to think about that because I'm not a tank. I'm sure some of you will have opinions. Email themurloc@gmail.com or tweet me. I'm sure you can send those over to me and perhaps I might read them if I'm feeling generous. Spell ranks, they will cease to exist entirely. All spells have 1 rank and will scale appropriately with level. The levels at which you can learn certain spells are being changed in order to fill some of the gaps, and we will be introducing some new spells. Hey! Good. To learn along the way. Spell ranks were generally pointless once they completely nerfed downranking into the ground, so I really have no problem with this whatsoever. To the vast majority of people, this will be a transparent change and a welcome one. So there you go. Weapon skill, completely gone. ask me why it existed to begin with. I can't tell you. There is no good reason for weapon skill. So it's about freaking time they got rid of it. Okay, so here's what else you're going to need to know. The combat ratings, as in stuff like crit, hit, etc., are going to be much harder to cap out at maximum gear levels. Ratings are going to be much steeper in Cataclysm. Yes, indeed, there were massive scaling problems in Wrath, as we saw by Icewell Radiance, as we like to call it, the big dodge nerf in Icecrown Citadel. They realized everything scaled up far too much, and it did. Creatures in later tiers of content will be harder to hit or crit, similar to how level 83 mobs are harder to hit or crit. Ah, so we might be getting an extra tier of difficulty in terms of mobs. I like it. It's delicious. Right. Here's the thing I am really excited about in Cataclysm. It's reforging. While these changes will go a long way to making a wider variety of stats more attractive, we understand that sometimes you simply don't want more hit rating. Or you'd rather have more haste than crit. In Cataclysm, we are giving the players a way to replace stats on gear as part of the existing profession system. As a general rule of thumb, you'll be able to convert one stat to 50% of another stat. While some conversions, like converting stamina to strength, will not be allowed, the goal is to let you customize your gear more. There you go. Great. That's something that, to be honest, I think has been in the pipeline for a long time and is way overdue. Really, it is. Giving players choice is important. I've always said this about the crafting system. The problem with the crafting system is that you generate these same items over and over again. And you know what? It would be kind of cool if there was a random element, or you could customize the items. Now, some customization came in the form of gems, but this is way, way more extensive. It's good. It's very good. I think the only problem I've got is that people might cry and complain that they broke their items. Oh no! What have I done? I've got to pay more money to fix it. I believe in choice, ladies and gentlemen, individual choice. It's very, very important to me, and I think it's really important to this game as well. Not an awful lot of choice available in the game right now. Lots more to come by the looks of it. Reforging is exciting to me. So, here's the thing. Here's the big question. Does changing the stats make the game easier? Not necessarily. It could. Does it dumb the game down? Also, it could. But let me tell you this, folks. I've been playing WoW since launch. I've been raiding since I was able to. So I did Molten Core when Molten Core was still considered to be the end tier of content. I raided every dungeon bar one. Yes, Sunwell, didn't get the chance. Every dungeon bar one, all the way up until now. And you know what I found? It takes me mods and external applications to work out which piece of gear is better these days. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is a broken system. I should never need a spreadsheet or an external application to work out whether or not something is an upgrade for me. I should be able to do that in my head. I should be able to see at a glance. Yes, I might have to think about it a little bit, but I shouldn't be breaking out the spreadsheets and raw and Simcast and stuff like that, whatever the hell you call it, Simcraft, to get it working. To work out what exactly I'm supposed to be taking. That is a bad system. It is. It shows the cracks in the current system. They've stacked too much one upon another, and the foundations of the system are now extremely shaky. Players can't figure it out. My wife, who's been raiding since launch, longer than me even. She raids with Insidia's off guild. She raids with D&T. She's raided with all sorts of other good guilds. And she's got to use Ra. And you know what? Ra doesn't even spit out the right values half the time for Shadow Priests. If we can't work it out, how do you expect the average player to work it out? You want players to be better, then first they have to learn exactly what their class is all about. And they can't do that if stats are broken. They can't figure out what gear is better. That has got to change. That has got to be dealt with. This is the opportunity to fix the system. This is the opportunity to streamline it and rebuild it from the ground up better, stronger, faster. They can rebuild it. They have the technology. Do you want to see that happen? I want to see that happen, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, I do. And I hope that it works out well. If it doesn't, well, hey, there was other games to play. My name's Total Biscuit. You are listening to Blue Please here on CynicalBrit.com. For our live listeners, enjoy the sounds of new Fintroll, Et Noshkindad. Enjoy.